Hello guys, thank you for returning to the channel. If you're new, hello, welcome to my channel. So guys, you know I'm doing this series on my channel where I'm like reading like unsolved like mysteries basically. So I recorded this, well, and I also have a podcast called Scary Stories with Toby, um, so basically last night I recorded a podcast of me reading three more like unsolved mystery stories. So this is basically the video of me reading those exact ones. Then after I get through with this, I'm gonna record the podcast with three more. Yeah. I hope you guys are doing good with this whole quarantine shit. Guys, I'm going fucking nuts. Like, I'm so mad right now because I've applied like big lots. I didn't hear back from them. So I already, yeah, no, I didn't get the job from big lots. But there's another career opportunity thing I'm going to be doing, which I'm excited about. which, I mean, yeah, which I'm going to do a video about explaining when it all gets finalized out. But yeah, but I'm just, yeah, because I need money back right now, and so I kind of, a lot of people, a lot of my friends weren't shocked, like, because how I am. All right, so okay, this one, okay, the first one I'm going to be reading to you guys is what happened to Johnny Gosh. Yes. This one is really, this one's really fucked up. Like, I've heard about this one. Yeah, I have. Yeah. This is like an old one of this kid that went missing, like in the 70s. This is what, okay, so the face on the milk carton, what happened to Johnny Gosh? That's Johnny Gosh. So, it's been over 3 decades since 12-year-old Johnny Gosh vanished while on his paper route in a suburb of Des Moines, Iowa. The case is heartbreaking and made all the more hauntings by the strange theories that now seek to explain his disappearance. That morning of September 5th, 1982, started out like any other for the Gosh family. Johnny set out on his local paper route. On this particular day, however, his father did not accompany him as he usually did by 6 a.m. The Goshes received calls from their neighbors complaining that their newspapers had not been delivered. Johnny's father, John, set out to search the neighborhood. Just 2 blocks away from the family home, John found his son's abandoned wagon full of undelivered newspapers. Johnny was nowhere to be found. There were no witnesses around at the time of Johnny's disappearance, though a neighbor later claimed he'd seen Johnny and another paperboy talking to a man driving a Ford Fairmount convertible. Another neighbor also reported seeing a man in a blue car talking to Johnny. However, with no further evidence of abduction, the Goshes faced considerable obstacles in convincing the police their son had been kidnapped. After a 23-day search, authorities were unable to uncover any evidence as to Johnny's whereabouts or any motive as to his kidnapping. His parents, in particular his mother, Noreen Gosh, lobbied intensely to keep the case in the public eye because law enforcement took such a long time to respond. John and Noreen Gosh were forced to take matters into their own hands. They were able to get Johnny's disappearance into multiple headlines across the country. They went on television and distributed over 1,000 posters with Johnny's picture on it. And these are the pictures of Johnny. The same year that Johnny vanished, Noreen established a foundation in her son's name. The organization pushed for legislation that called for an immediate police response to reports of missing children. The bill became state law in 1984 after receiving support from the likes of John Walsh, the host of America's Most Wanted, whose own son was kidnapped and murdered in 1981. The Johnny Gosch bill now requires police to investigate missing child cases immediately instead of waiting 72 hours as they had in Johnny's case. In addition, Johnny's face appeared on a milk carton in 1984, one of the first missing children whose case was publicized that way. Then just a few years later, Johnny's story went from tragic to downright bizarre. In 1989, a man named Paul Banaki came forward with some shocking assertions, with some shocking news. He claimed he had been abducted by human traffickers as a teenager and was forced to help in the kidnapping of Johnny Gosch. Banaki claimed that the ring trained children to work for the government and participate in sexual acts in order to make the blackmail of politicians possible. This sex ring, Banaki claimed was the work of a man named Lawrence E. King, the director of the Franklin Credit Union in Omaha, Nebraska. Banaki claimed he knew Johnny. He identified a birthmark on Johnny's chest and said that Johnny had talked about going to yoga classes with his mother, a fact his family had not shared with the public because he was able to provide intimate details of Gosch. Both John and Noreen believed he was telling the truth. Nevertheless, the FBI did not consider Banaki a credible witness. He suffered from multiple personality disorder and had a delinquent past. They believed his testimony was a hoax and declined to seek oh my gosh, I can't even read this word. And declined to seek an indictment against King in 1990. Two of the accusers against Franklin were indicted for perjury. Years went by with no new leads. Then in 1997, Noreen claimed that one morning at 2:30 a.m. she was wakened by a sound of knocking. She opened her front door. Her son, Johnny, now 27, was standing there with a man she'd never seen before. Noreen claimed that the two entered her apartment and that they spoke for over an hour before departing. Johnny would look over to the other person for approval to speak. She told the Des Moines Register he didn't say where he's living or where he was going. Though Noreen worked with the FBI to create a new sketch of Johnny's current appearance, the case went cold again. She claimed that she did not contact the police when Johnny showed up because he warned her that doing so would be bad to his safety. Noreen claims that her son confirmed that he had been a victim of a pedophilia organization and had been cast aside when he grew older. However, he still feared for his life and lived under a new identity, deeming it unsafe to return home. John has stated his uncertainty as to whether or not the visit occurred. The couple has been divorced since 1993. The next bizarre development came on September 1st, 2006. Noreen Gosch returned home to find several disturbing photos at her doorstep. She claimed that one of the photos showed Johnny bound and gagged with a brand mark on his shoulder. Another photo showed 3 boys bound and gagged just 2 weeks later. The Des Moines Police Department received an anonymous letter which read, "Gentlemen, someone has played a pencil joke on a grieving mother. The photo in question is not one of her son, but of 3 boys in Tampa, Florida, about 1979 to 80, challenging each other to an escape contest. There was an investigation concerning that picture made by the Hillsborough County, Florida Sheriff's Office. No charges were filed and no wrongdoing was established. The lead detective on the case was named Zalva. The allegation should be easy enough to check out. In fact, a detective in Florida named Nelson Zalva confirmed that he had investigated the photo of the three boys and could find no evidence that anything criminal had taken place. Despite this, Noreen maintains that the other photograph is indeed of Johnny, that he was a victim of a child prostitution ring run out of Omaha, Nebraska, and that there was a cover-up that stretches from local law enforcement all the way up to the FBI. Two similar disappearances in the area could support an active child predator theory. In 1984, Eugene Martin, another young paperboy, vanished on his route in the early morning hours. In 1986, 13-year-old Mark Wallen Allen disappeared on his way to a friend's house just down the street. Wow. And wow. A few theories have surfaced over Johnny Gosch's current whereabouts. Noreen firmly believes the prostitution theory and that the investigation has been hampered due to the influence of politicians and celebrities involved in the alleged ring. Although this theory hasn't been officially rejected, Des Moines police have stated there was no evidence to suggest that Johnny was a part of a pedophilia ring. Connected to this outlandish theory is a deeper conspiracy that Johnny Gosch's identity has changed since his abduction. The conservative columnist known as Jeff Gowen, legal name James Gokard, was part of a minor media firestorm in 2005. Although unqualified for the job, Cannon was part of daily press briefings with President George Bush. He was eventually pushed to resign from his job after his use of male escort services came to light. Certain internet speculators already on edge about Gannon's ability to access presidential briefings put two and two together in other ways. Soon claims that Gannon was actually George Bush's lover, a former sex slave war conspiracy theory war engulfing conspiracy theory boards. Then visual similarities between Gannon and the kidnapped Johnny Gosch were noticed. And the JG repetition of Ghana's alias seemed to seal the deal. Noreen Gosch has asked Gannon to take a DNA test to prove whether or not he is her son, but Gannon refused. What really happened to Johnny Gosch on that fateful day in 1982? Could the rash of disappearance be connected? Sadly, decades later, the case remains unsolved. Honestly, the whole pedophilia ring thing, I really think happened. That's what I think. Alright, let's get back into it. Okay. Let's just see what's the other one. The other one is disappearance of Jim Thompson, Thai Silk King. Jim Thompson built an empire in Thailand, then the home of his dreams. Then on March 25th, 1967, he went for a walk and was never seen again. The guy had really bad credit, and I really believed that the guy, disappeared because he had bad credit. Yeah. I'm gonna read some of it, but a lot of details, you know what, honestly, I'm not going to read, too much of the details. I'm just going to read the summary because there's a lot of stuff when I've read it on my podcast I really didn't care for. So, I'm just going to read. This next story, I really do care for. And this one is what happened to Evelyn Hartley. Oh, yeah, and this is Jim... That is Jim Thompson, and this is Evelyn Hartley. Alright, and she's a babysitter. that went missing. Alright. Let me read this. Come on. Come on. Come on, phone. Oh, Lord. What I'm probably gonna start doing, guys, is whenever I record my podcast, I'm probably just gonna film. Well, so I can do both and get both out of the way, so I don't have to go back and record. Come on. Come on, phone. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. So, oh my god. Come on. My god. My phone's taking forever, y'all, to load. I swear. Okay. Okay. Alright, guys. Let's do this. Along the bank of the Mississippi River in southwest Wisconsin lies the city of La Crosse. It's a charming community and regularly ranks as one of Wisconsin's most desirable places to live. But its pleasant reputation was marred on October 24th, 1953. This night, 15-year-old Evelyn Grace Hartley went on a babysitting job and was never seen again. Evelyn Hartley was a sophomore at Central High School. Her father, Richard Hartley, was a biology professor at La Crosse State College. Her mother, Ethel, was a homemaker. On a fateful evening, Evelyn left for the home of another college professor, Vigo Romson, in order to watch the Romsons' 20-month-old baby. She was wearing red jeans, a white blouse, glasses, and white bobby socks. Evelyn typically called her parents to check in during her babysitting gigs. When some time had passed without a word, Richard Hartley called the Romson home but received no answer. Worried, he drove to the residence. Hartley found the house locked and knocked repeatedly on the front door. Again, he received no response. After a few minutes, he discovered an open basement window through which he entered the house. To his shock, nobody was there except the baby, sleeping soundly in an upstairs room. Hartley immediately called the police. Upon arriving, authorities searched the house. They discovered one of Evelyn's shoes as well as her broken glasses. Her other shoe was found in a different part of the house. Blood was also found inside. A perimeter search revealed additional blood stains in the yard and bloody prints on the nearby garage. Bloodhounds were brought in to follow the scent, which they traced to the street. This police theorized was proof that Evelyn must have been put into a car and driven away. A massive search commenced. Volunteers combed the town on foot, while the National Guard, Civic, Air Patrol, and Air Force scanned the area from overhead. Boaters took to the waterways in hopes of uncovering clues. Numerous college and high school students joined the effort, and within the first few days, over 2,000 people were looking for Evelyn Hartley. Police asked squirrel and deer hunters to stay alert while out in the field, and farmers were told to explore their land for any freshly turned earth, in an effort to leave no stone unturned. Even fresh graves were dug up to ensure Evelyn's body had not been buried in secret. To take matters further, authorities announced that all cars would be checked. The goal was to have the back seat and trunk of every car in the county inspected for bloodstains or any other suspicious signs. 40,000 stickers were printed, each reading, "My car is okay." Authorities would place a sticker on every car that had been checked and cleared. Police Chief George Long ordered all gas station attendants to report any suspicious vehicles, as well as the as well as a license number of any driver that refused the mandatory search. Police officers were also instructed to immediately check any car without an OK sticker. Richard and Ethel Hartley made several public pleas for information. They addressed Evelyn's presumed abductor and begged for answers. A short time later, the Hartleys received 2 phone calls in which a man offered to trade information about Evelyn for $500 cash. Police assisted the Hartleys in setting a trap for the caller. The snare was a success and resulted in the capture of a 20-year-old man named Jack Dufferin. As it happened, Dufferin knew nothing about Evelyn. He was convicted and imprisoned for attempted extortion. A number of local businesses, organizations, and neighbors pooled their money to establish a reward fund for any tips that might lead to Evelyn's return. The fund soon swelled to 66,000. Hundreds of tips flooded the. The fund soon swelled to 66,000. Hundreds of tips flooded the police station. Each tip was investigated and promptly dismissed. Nobody, it seemed, knew anything. A year after Evelyn's disappearance, Sheriff Robert Scullin estimated that his department had questioned approximately 1,000 people. Detective Captain Leon King, who spearheaded the initial investigation, placed that number around 35,000. Despite their efforts, no new leads surfaced. The case eventually fell into the hands of A.M. Josephine, a criminal investigator from L.A. Cross County. Josephine would pursue the case for years, paying particular attention to 2 intriguing items found during the first few weeks of the investigation. The first clue was a pair of tennis shoes discovered nearby off of Highway 14, some 10 miles southwest of La Crosse near Shelby, Wisconsin. The thread on the bottom of the shoes produced a distinct pattern. It pressed into the mud. Indeed, a chunk of dirt had been found on the Rumson's living room floor that detectives believe matched the shoe tread. The same pattern was also found in footprints outside of the Rumson house. Second clue was a blood-stained denim jacket, which was recovered within 800 feet of the tennis shoes. Josephine believed this was connected to the crime. While inspecting the shoes, Josephine found yet another lead. He determined that the soles exhibit a distinct wear pattern consistent with operating a Whizzer motorbike. Over the next few months, Joseph Port, I think this detective's name is Josephine or Josephine. I'm going to say Josephine. Josephine poured over sales records and receipts and even tracked down past and present owners of Whizzer motorbikes, but never found any worthwhile suspects. Okay. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry for Reggie. Oh my god. The jacket and shoes were put on display throughout the region with a plea for information from anybody whom might recognize them. Again, calls and potential leads flooded the police station. Once again, nothing useful materialized. And the shoes and blood-stained jacket fell out of favor with most investigators, who no longer considered the items significant. While the tennis shoes were a large size 11, the jacket was in fact a smaller size 36, leading many to conclude the two were connected. Oh my god. Josephine, however, refused to give up. He viewed the size discrepancy as proof that two suspects had taken Evelyn. The investigator continued his search. At least his efforts ultimately led nowhere. The Hartley case received an unexpected jolt in 1957, courtesy of Ed Gein, a killer and body snatcher who confessed to murdering 2 women and fashioning trophies out of human body parts, was briefly considered suspect in the disappearance as he had been visiting relatives in the La Crosse area at the time of Evelyn's vanishing. However, upon searching Gein's property, none of Evelyn's remains were discovered. Gein also passed 2 lie detector tests, which he insisted had nothing to do with the case. Authorities officially declared that Gein was nowhere connected to Evelyn Hartley. Some, however, continued to suspect his involvement. Years went by without an answer, but by 1959, the last remaining efforts fizzled out and the Evelyn Hartley case went cold. In the years, numerous individuals came forward and confessed to the crime. All confessions were investigated and dismissed as false in 1971. A 51-year-old transient named Tommy Thompson was arrested in Casper, Wyoming for passing bat checks. While in custody, Thompson told the police of a rape slaying he had committed in 1953, naming Evelyn Hartley as his victim. Authorities checked Thompson's claims and found that he had been in Minnesota prison at the time of Evelyn's disappearance. On October 22nd, 1978, 25 years after Evelyn vanished, the La Crosse Tribune ran a piece on Richard and Ethel Hartley, and the Hartleys admitted to giving up hope of ever finding out what happened to their daughter. They further committed they no longer cared to read about it. Viggo Romson was also interviewed and claimed to be haunted by visions of what may have happened in his home that night. To this day, Evelyn's disappearance remains unsolved. Wow. I mean, that case is like, I feel bad for the parents, but because of technology today, we can seriously fucking solve that thing. We can. Yeah, because of technology. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I'm about to do a double. I'm about to record 2 videos back to back. So, love you guys. Peace.